Viewer discretion advised. This video contains detailed discussion of murder, animal cruelty, mental illness, and mass violence planning, based on true events. Some details may be disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Texas, March 20th, 2012. A welfare check on a small home on Far Street. It's just after 1 in the afternoon. The shades are drawn. Nobody's answering the phone. Family members have been calling for hours, and no one has picked up. Officers walk the perimeter, looking through the windows. Through the glass, they can see a man lying across a bed, half slumped onto the floor. He isn't moving. Inside that house, the officers find 3 people. A mother, a father, and a son. Each one shot multiple times. They find broken glass in nearly every room. They find dead pets. And they also find, scrawled in black marker across the walls and the doors, a series of messages that almost read like a confession, or a prayer, or something in between. I love my mom, dad, and brother. Why did I do this? God, forgive me, because I cannot forgive myself. One family member is missing, the 22-year-old son, and before the day is over, the world will learn his name. Along with the name, hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube already knew him by Mr. Anime. This is the story of Trey Eric Sessler. To understand what happened in that house, you have to go back 6 years to a bedroom in Waller, Texas, and the skinny, nerdy 17-year-old pointing a camera at himself. On September 14th, 2006, Trey Sessler created a YouTube channel called Lens Cap Productions. He was a junior at Waller High School, a town of fewer than 3,000 people, about 21 miles northwest of Houston. By most accounts, he wasn't popular, but he also wasn't an outcast either. A classmate named Tara Sandoval, who had known him since 6th grade, later told the Houston Chronicle, he wasn't in the popular crowd. He wasn't a social butterfly though, but if you approached him, he was nice, and he loved anime. Within a year, Trey had launched a second channel specifically for reviews, a channel called Mr. Anime. He was funny, unpretentious, and honest about the shows he covered. His signature intro was a quick little skit. He'd walk through a door with a pistol in each hand, pretend to shoot himself, and give the camera a wide thumbs up. What's genuinely remarkable, and almost impossible to believe looking back, is that Trey Sessler was one of the pioneers of anime YouTube. Alongside a handful of other creators in 2006, he helped build the genre from nothing. Critics who came after him, Gigguk, Arcada, Holden Reviews, watched his stuff growing up. Over 5.5 years, he would upload 323 videos and rack up over 1 million views. His Facebook bio, written before any of this happened, read like it was written by the most harmless person on earth. Hi, I'm Trey. No nicknames or anything. I really like to take it easy and have a nice time. I plant things sometimes in the spring like peppers and strawberries. My car is currently the most exciting part of my days. Pleased to meet you though. Take it easy. And for a long time, that is exactly who Mr. Anime seemed to be. But then, something started to shift. To understand how a YouTube anime reviewer ends up writing apologies on his childhood bedroom walls, you have to understand that the signs were there, scattered across a decade, in a dozen different places, and no one ever put them together. It started when Trey was 13 years old. He walked into school one day and told a teacher about a plan he'd been thinking about. He said he was going to call 911, report a suspicious shadow outside his parents' house, hide in the nearby woods, wait for the responding officer, club that officer with the baseball bat, steal the officer's firearm, and then drive to a classmate's house and shoot him. The school reported it. Trey was ordered to see a child psychiatrist. The evaluation came back essentially normal. The assessment, according to later reporting, was that there was nothing to worry about. The matter was quietly dropped. No follow-up, no record, nothing. Trey was 13. He had just described a plan to murder a police officer and a child, and the system decided that he was fine. And from there, the progression was textbook. Waller County Sheriff Glenn Smith would later describe it as a classic example that we've seen in our past. He started as a young person killing pets and some of his own animals. He progressed to being able to get weapons and started shooting at buildings. Then he started setting a few fires. It's a progression that, unfortunately, we've seen. In his eventual confession, Trey admitted that for years he had been killing animals, neighborhood pets, his own family's pets, livestock. When his own dogs and rabbits disappeared, he would tell his family they'd run off. His cousin, Dr. Robin Warner, later recalled seeing a photo of a rabbit in the house and asking what had happened to it. He said, "Oh, Trey just said it got away." Investigators would later confirm he had shot dozens of cows and horses along dark rural roads on nighttime drives in his black 2010 Ford Mustang. He called these drives a nightly ritual, and the targets weren't just animals. Trey confessed to firing rounds into abandoned buildings, a church window, an Ace Hardware store, the Hempstead Library, and the coach's office at his old high school. Most chilling of all, he admitted to firing a shot through a window at Waller High School on 2 separate occasions, about 18 months before the murders. At the time, police assumed they were stray shots from hunters. The hunters' explanation was, of course, untrue. He admitted to setting wildfires around Waller during the summer of 2011. He admitted to burning down a vacant home with gasoline. By 2011, his behavior at home was falling apart. His great aunt, Wida Frierson, who lived just a few houses down the street, put it this way: Trey almost acted as though he didn't know us. He would be walking down the street and, of course, the ordinary thing you'd want him to do was wave at your nephew, but he wouldn't even look our way. He was, by multiple accounts, abusing drugs, everything from non-prescribed Oxycontin to Prozac to methamphetamine to marijuana, with alcohol abuse that had gotten considerably worse. His friends confirmed he was being treated for depression. On a jail phone call to his grandmother, Trey himself would later say he'd been on medication for a long time. For most of 2011, he wasn't even living with his parents anymore. The friction with his father had gotten so bad that he had moved into his deceased grandmother's house in Hempstead, where his neighbor, a man named Charles Scroggins, would later tell reporters that Trey used to show off his guns with an unsettling enthusiasm. Scroggins remembered one specific quote: "With this rifle here, I could shoot a person way off yonder, 1,000 yards. Scroggins told his wife more than once that he thought Trey was going to kill someone someday, and he was ultimately correct. All of this was happening quietly in the private corners of Trey's life, but something else was happening in public, on the channel where hundreds of thousands of people could see it. Around 2010, the videos started to change. In October of that year, he posted a review of an anime called High School of the Dead. Midway through, he pulled out a real rifle with a flashlight mounted on the barrel. Well, get your rifle with flashlight attachment ready, because today, I'm going to review the zombie epic High School of the Dead. In September 2011, he posted a video that had nothing to do with anime at all. It was just him firing a high-point 9mm carbine at bottles under a bridge. He opened the video by introducing himself in 3 different ways, almost like he was trying out identities. "How you doing, everyone? It's Mr. Anime," or "You can call me Trey," or "You can call me the guy who does the video reviews," or "the guy who does all the gun stuff now." His skits, which used to be comedy bits featuring his older brother Mark, started featuring more and more weapons. His Facebook profile photo was a picture of him pointing a gun directly at the camera, and behind the scenes, on his personal laptop, he was writing a kind of research paper, grading serial killers on their methods: Ted Bundy, David Berkowitz, Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Whitman, Kip Kinkle. But his obsession, above all, was Columbine. He had watched a documentary about the shooting roughly 50 times. Sheriff Smith, after reviewing the evidence, said, "What's amazing is that he can quote specific dates, times, and the names of students who were shot and in what order. He's not a stupid guy." Trey himself would eventually admit, "I don't think a period of 2 or 3 days ever went by that I didn't think about some sort of violent act." And the fans noticed something was off. Looking back through the comment sections today, you can find viewers who flag the shift in real time. Commenters writing things like, "It always feels weird watching videos of people who do horrible things before they've done it." Another fan, who ran a DeviantArt page, later wrote, "I used to like watching Mr. Anime reviews. My favorite used to be when he reviewed Cowboy Bebop. In 2011, I started to watch his videos again, and the first video I saw was the gun one. I thought it was strange, but brushed it off." In February 2012, Trey posted a video with a title that is genuinely hard to read in hindsight. Mr. Anime is planning something. In the video, he tells his audience that he's going to be taking a 2 or 3 week break. He thanks his fans for sticking with him. He tells them everything is going really good. Investigators would later believe this video was something close to an announcement. Then, on March 13, 2012, exactly 1 week before the murders, Trey posted what would turn out to be his final video ever. It was called Mr. Anime's New Job. In it, he tells his audience, with apparent excitement, that he's been hired full-time in the film department somewhere. He tells them, "I'm still going to be doing videos." There was no new job. It was a lie. 1 week later, he would kill his entire family. Before we go any further, it's important to remember who the Sesslers actually were. Rhonda Sessler, Trey's mother, was 57 years old. She was born Rhonda D. Wise in Hempstead, Texas, where she'd been her high school's valedictorian before graduating from Sam Houston State University. She had worked at the Waller Times, the local newspaper, for 6 years. Friends described her as the quintessential mother, always ready with lemonade and cookies. Her sister-in-law Elizabeth Sessler said simply, "If Trey had any problems or whatever, Rhonda was right there taking her motherly care." A friend who had known her for years noticed that over the last 2 years of her life, Rhonda had lost a lot of weight. When they hugged, she could feel almost every bone. A week before she died, someone saw her at the post office and thought she seemed off. Looking back on it, she didn't seem her usual self. There was a sadness about her. Lawton Ray Sessler Jr., Trey's father, was 58. He was a 5th grade science teacher at Robinson Elementary in the Cypress Fairbanks School District, where he had taught for more than 16 years and been named Spotlight Teacher twice. His principal called him a legend at this school. He was known for singing in class, cracking dry jokes, and showing science videos. One of his students, 11-year-old Maddie Powell, later said, "It's hard to put it through your head that someone so funny, with so much energy, is gone. It's kind of like losing a family member." Mark Allen Sessler, Trey's older brother, was 26. He had graduated from Sam Houston State with a business degree. He had his own small YouTube channel, and he had appeared in several of Trey's videos. He'd played the bully in a skit where Trey was the hero. A friend of Trey's said flatly, Trey loved his brother. They were, by every account of every person who knew them, a good family. The night of March 19th to 20th, 2012. The exact chronology is stitched together from Trey's own 8-hour confession to Texas Rangers, which he gave the day after his arrest. Investigators believe the killings began late on the night of March 19th and continued into the early hours of March 20th. His mother came first. Trey asked her to come out to the garage. Accounts vary as to the pretext. He either wanted her to look at a dent in her car or look at something on his. Either way, once she was in the garage, he shot her at point-blank range with a .22 caliber rifle. 4 shots to the chest. She died fairly instantly. His first thought, which he later described to investigators, was this: "I just screwed myself, kind of like there's no going back." He walked back into the house. His brother Mark had heard the shots and called out, "I don't know what you're doing out there, but it was really loud." Trey walked right past him, didn't respond, went to his bedroom and retrieved his Glock 9mm pistol loaded with hollow point rounds. He came back and he shot his brother. But Mark was still alive. Wounded, he ran to the bathroom, deadbolted the door, and tried to hide. Trey broke through the door and finished him. Later, he would explain his reasoning to the Rangers in the most chillingly casual way possible. "I was like, well, I'm already committed really. Can't really go to my brother and dad and be like, yeah, I just killed our mom." His father had been asleep. The gunfire finally woke him up, and he came out of the bedroom to see what was happening. Trey shot him twice in the torso. and then Trey went and got another weapon. He retrieved an AR-15 style .223 rifle, walked back through the house, and shot each of his family members again. He shot his mother at least twice more. He shot his brother once more in the head. He shot his father a final time. His stated reason, in his own words, "I didn't want anyone to be suffering, lying on the floor for hours moaning and groaning. So I was like, I've got to retrace with a more powerful weapon and shoot them again." Then, something in Trey broke further. He walked through the house and killed every living thing in it. Every pet, every animal. He ransacked the entire home, smashing glass in nearly every room. Waller Police Chief Phil Rehack later described the scene as a war zone. He didn't just kill them, he massacred them. He tore up the house he grew up in. And then, with a black marker, he started writing on the walls, "I love my mom, dad, and brother. Why did I do this? God, forgive me, because I cannot forgive myself. I will never forgive myself. I don't know why I did this." This is where the story takes a turn most people don't know about. Because when Trey Sessler left that house, he wasn't done. He loaded his black Mustang with the high-point 9mm carbine rifle, the same one from the YouTube bridge video, and more than 100 rounds of ammunition. Then he drove the short distance to Waller High School, his alma mater, and he parked. His plan, which he had been developing by his own admission for 3 or 4 years, was to carry out a mass shooting. His stated goal was to kill at least 70 people at a pep rally, to become, in his words, the biggest mass murderer in history. He had considered other options too, the homecoming football game, for instance. "I was thinking I could creep across the field and open up on the home fans, and probably cause more mayhem with people trying to get away and falling on each other than actual bullets." His attack plan specifically was to ram his Mustang through the gate and into the school courtyard, then get out and open fire. He sat in the parking lot, he had the weapons, he had the ammunition. He had, by his own account, been thinking about this for years. And then he drove away. When Texas Rangers later asked him why he didn't go through with it, his answer was haunting in its simplicity. "Right after I had killed the family, it was on my mind to do. And I'm like, there's my opportunity. Go ahead, go get him." But he didn't. And his reason? Maybe it was what happened was just too real. Police Chief Rehack later told CNN, "We prevented something horrific from possibly happening. I think I can say that with pretty high confidence." Trey drove 21 miles to a friend's house in Magnolia, Texas, where he went to sleep. Before he slept, he made phone calls. He called his aunt, Elizabeth Sessler, and said, "Oh, God will never forgive me for this. I'm so sorry, Elizabeth." He called other extended family members and told them, in varying levels of detail, what he had done. Those family members started calling the Sessler home. No one answered. They called police and asked for a welfare check. At around 1 p.m. on March 20th, 2012, officers arrived at the house on Far Street and, through the windows, saw a body. They went in. They found all 3 victims. They saw the writing on the walls, and within hours, an arrest warrant was issued for the only member of the family who was missing. That evening at roughly 9:30 p.m., Texas Rangers, federal marshals, and Brazoria County SWAT officers surrounded the house in Magnolia. Trey Sessler was arrested, sitting in his black Mustang, without incident. In the car and on his person, they found the AR-15 and the 9mm pistol, believed to have been used in the killings. The interrogation began the next morning at Montgomery County Jail. It was conducted by Texas Rangers Jeff Wolf and Pete Luna, along with FBI agents and Waller County detectives. It lasted 8 hours. It was video recorded. Trey's demeanor during the interrogation was described by those who watched it as unstable. He would weep at times and admit to his wrongdoing, but then zone out and seem like a completely different person. Sheriff Smith noted, his demeanor is quiet. He is respondent. He will tear up sometimes. He realizes the severity of this. He changed his story multiple times, particularly on motive. At first, he said he killed his family because he didn't want them to be ashamed of what he was about to do at the school. Later, he disputed that characterization, saying they were the first immediate human targets in my sight. Later still, he called them targets of opportunity. But one line he gave the Rangers is the one that stops you cold. The thing about my family is I would protect them with my life, but at the same time, if anyone was going to hurt them, it was going to be me. He confessed to everything: the animal killings, the years of prowling, the shots fired at the high school, the wildfires, the burnt down house, the plan to attack the school that very morning. Within days of his arrest, he was placed on suicide watch. Investigators recovered at least 6 firearms across 3 locations: the family home, the grandmother's house in Hempstead, and the Mustang, a .22 rifle, a Glock 9mm, an AR-15 style .223 semi-automatic, the Hi-Point .995 carbine, at least 2 more pistols. Sheriff Smith described it as a sizable cache with numerous magazines and a significant amount of ammunition for each of the guns. On Trey's computers, 4 of them from the house alone, forensic examiners found the serial killer research paper, the Columbine materials, Virginia Tech research, and Google Earth satellite imagery of the vacant home he had burned down. They found a handwritten journal. They found evidence that Trey had recently been researching body armor. And in Waller County Jail, in the weeks after his arrest, Trey started writing a book, a novel. He described it to other inmates this way: "It's about a guy that lives in an apartment with his 2 kids and his wife. He has a bad attitude all the time." There was no trial. Despite what a lot of online resources incorrectly claim, Trey Sessler never pursued an insanity defense. On August 2nd, 2012, one day before his 23rd birthday, he pled guilty to 3 counts of capital murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. According to multiple sources, Trey himself asked the judge to take away his right to parole. He said he was afraid he was still a danger to himself and to others. His defense attorney, Frank Blazek, said afterward, "This is a great tragedy and there was no good outcome." So Trey felt comfortable with the sentence, and the survivors of the victims can now have closure. The community will be protected. A lot of people in Waller were angry. They had expected the death penalty. One resident, Logan Peavy, told a reporter, "Death penalty, definitely, because it was obviously premeditated." District Attorney Elton Mathis said something that stuck with a lot of people. "The scary thing about this is that Trey could be any kid in suburban Houston." Trey Sessler, inmate number 017-99527, is now 36 years old. He is currently serving his sentence at the Charles T. Terrell Unit in Rocheron, Texas. He will die there. The Mr. Anime YouTube channel was terminated by YouTube in September 2020, 8 years after the murders. It has been briefly unterminated on multiple occasions, most recently in 2024. The 2 most significant videos in retrospect, Mr. Anime is Planning Something and Mr. Anime's New Job, have been removed due to privacy claims by a third party. But re-uploads of Trey's old content still exist, scattered across the internet, on channels like Mr. Anime Season 3. You can still watch Trey review High School of the Dead. You can still watch him fire a Hi-Point 9mm at bottles under a bridge, and introduce himself as the guy who does all the gun stuff now. You can still watch him 1 week before the murders, thank his fans and tell them about his exciting new job that didn't exist. And the thing that stays with me about this case, more than the arsenal, more than the wall writing, more than the parking lot at the high school where he chose, in some small mercy, not to get out of the car, is how obvious the signs were, and how none of them reached anyone who could have stopped it. At 13, he described a plan to murder a police officer and a classmate. The system cleared him. For years, he killed pets and told his family they'd run off. They believed him. He fired a rifle through the window of his own high school twice, and the police wrote it off as hunters. He set a house on fire. The arson was never traced to him. He posted a video fetishizing the weapon he had just bought to an audience of thousands. The comments brushed it off. He posted a video literally called Mr. Anime is Planning Something, and he posted the final video 1 week before the murders, announcing a job that wasn't even real. Sheriff Smith said it best: "It's the hardest thing about this whole case to sit with. It's a progression that, unfortunately, we've seen." Trey Sessler told us what he was. He told his teachers at 13. He told his neighbors with the guns he loved to show off. He told his parents with every disappearing pet. He told his fans with every video that drifted further from anime and closer to something evil. And he finally told his family with a .22 rifle in their garage on the night of March 19th, 2012. He wrote on the walls that he didn't know why he did it, but the truth is, he'd been telling us for a long time. We just weren't listening.